headed by Constantine, who appointed the bishops. The church also adopted the same organizational boundaries as the empire. Geographical provinces called dioceses, corresponding to imperial governmental territorial division. In the words of Charles Norris Cochrane, ecclesiastical councils functioned as parliaments embodying the philosophic wisdom of the empire. However, the structure of today's more democratic and more complicated church is very different to the one it was 1,600 years ago. Most notably in this current separation from the state in most European countries, showing that the church is capable of withstanding changes to its structure and identity. In France, for example, the separation of church and state happened after a law of the same name was passed in 1905. After the First World War, the church succeeded in remodeling itself in the country and establishing new diplomatic relations with France in 1921. Because of this, it seems plausible that the church would be able to remove itself from the governmental practices in Latin America, a subject which has been a constant source of criticism over the last few years. More vocal have been the calls to reform the practice of exclusively ordaining men, a tradition which has its roots in the Roman political tradition. Before being accepted as a state religion, the history of Christianity is replete with the action of females, from the biblical Mary Mother of Christ and Mary Magdalene through the mention of Diosconis Phoebe in Paul's letter to the Romans to the 15 records of women being ordained in antiquity. So it is clear that although there is hope for the church to modernize and resolve some of the issues in facing today, it must first decolonize itself from the ever-present influences of the Roman Empire's culture and language. Next is Walnut Street Jail. Walnut Street Prison was a city jail and penitentiary house in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania from 1773 to 1838. Legislations calling for establishments of the jail was passed in 1773 to relieve overcrowding in the High Street Jail. The first prisoners were admitted in 1776. The Walnut Street Prison was a pioneering effort in prison reform. Originally built as a conventional jail just before the American Revolution, it was expanded in 1790 and hailed as a model of enlightened thinking about criminals. The prison, in fact, was known as a penitentiary, from the Latin word for remorse. It was designed to provide a severe environment that left inmates such time for reflection, but it was also designed to be cleaner and safer than past prisons. The Walnut Street Prison was one of the forerunners of an entire school of thought on prison construction and reform. The prison was built on Walnut Street in Philadelphia